Now on WKRG News 5.
Good morning, everyone. 8:55. I'm Bill Wiles in this morning for Devin Walsh. Coming up on News 5 at 9 this morning, a hit and run in Pascagoula left one dead and another seriously injured. Officials are now searching for the person responsible. Plus, Mobile police are investigating several break-ins and burglaries across the area overnight. We'll tell you which businesses were hit. The aftermath of Tropical Storm Gordon was felt in one Florida neighborhood as residents had to be rescued from rising water. President Donald Trump continues to blast an anonymous op-ed piece from the New York Times. The article details the possible resistance against the president from inside the White House. And the president's pick for a seat on the Supreme Court will be back before the Senate Judiciary Committee today after 12 hours of questioning yesterday. Well, we can expect at Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing straight ahead. Details on all stories and more this morning on News 5 at 9. First, let's check your Thursday forecast. Here's meteorologist John Nodar.
All right, it's not going to be a perfect day. It's going to be kind of like a September day where you get some showers and thunderstorms, but at least it's not pouring rain right now in Pensacola, where you saw 2 solid days of record-breaking rainfall. So nice to see a dry picture out of the Unity Fiber camera in downtown Pensacola, where it's 77 degrees with a light north-northeast breeze. All right, on the big picture, Gordon is fading. It's still a tropical depression, but a weak and disorganized one as it moves through northern Mississippi into Arkansas. Still pulling some bands of rain behind it. You can barely make out that one there that kind of arcs around through Tennessee. This one is being pulled up through southeast Mississippi. But they're not like yesterday, where it was nearly a solid sheet of torrential rain. These are just broken up lines of showers and maybe some thunderstorms this afternoon. Right now it's just rain showers over parts of George and Jackson counties from Van Cleve up to about Vestry. And that's it. Maybe Bendale, a couple of folks in Bendale getting a little sprinkle of rain right now. Checking the Florida Panhandle. We had some rain along the Gulf Islands National Seashore earlier this morning. Your umbrella forecast is for a 50% chance of needing a Green and Phillips umbrella. Our temperatures are in the 70s to start things out, starting to see some 80s along the coastline. We warm to the upper 80s before this day is done. We'll be talking about a more typical summer weekend coming your way, and also we'll be looking at the tropics. It's coming up on News 5 at 9 a.m.
Pizza, Papa John's. Now on WKRG News 5.
One person dead, another seriously injured in a hit and run last night in Pensacola. We've got the latest on who police are looking for. Plus a string of crimes last night in Mobile. Several businesses in Mobile and Pritchard broken into and burglarized.
Well, Gordon is fading. Our weather returning to a more typical September pattern. We'll talk about that and about what else is happening in the tropics on News 5 at 9 a.m.
Local coverage you can count on. You're watching WKRG News 5 at 9.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for News 5 at 9. I'm Bill Riles, in today for Devin Walsh. First on 5 at this hour, the Florida Highway Patrol is investigating a hit and run that left a person dead and another seriously injured. It happened just before 8 last night on Gulf Beach Highway in Pensacola. Authorities say the two people were hit by a white Chevy dually pickup truck. That's the type with two back wheels. One of them, whose identity hasn't been released, died. The other person, 53-year-old Anita Lamb of Pensacola, was taken to Sacred Heart Hospital with serious injuries. After hitting the victims, authorities say the driver kept going and eventually turned on Winton Avenue. A witness tried to follow that truck but lost the truck when the driver cut off its lights. Authorities say the white Chevy dually pickup they're looking for has a Florida tag, and part of that tag number could be N77. If you know a truck that matches that description, call the Florida Highway Patrol. Well, Mobile police are investigating after someone attempted to break into the Dollar General on Cottage Hill Road near Demetropolis Road. And we've also learned 3 other businesses were hit by burglars overnight, including Dollar General or Family Dollar locations in Mobile and Pritchard. News 5's Katerina Lukatich reports from outside the Dollar General on Cottage Hill with details.
The latest happened at the Dollar General on Cottage Hill Road near Demetropolis. You can see here where the glass was attempted to be shattered earlier this morning. The attempted robber did not make it in. You could see the glass didn't break. Now, police were still here around 3:30 this morning. They say because the person didn't get in, it doesn't appear that they took anything. Now, this is the 4th of similar crimes that happened overnight. Around midnight, there was a burglary reported at the Family Dollar on St. Stephen's Road. About 10 minutes later, the Dollar General on Lot Road was robbed. And then about an hour later, there was another robbery reported at the Dollar General on 3 Notch Road. At this point, we don't know if those 4 crimes are related. But again, the latest happened here at Dollar General on Cottage Hill near Demetropolis. As soon as we have any more information, we'll be sure to pass it along. In Mobile, Katerina Lukatich, WKRG News 5.
Well, Tropical Storm Gordon passed along the coast Tuesday night, bringing heavy rain and strong winds to our part of the Gulf Coast. In Pensacola, a tree fell into a mobile home, causing the storm's only death. 2-year-old Zariana Gillis was inside the trailer. News 5 spoke with a relative who says the little girl will be missed by many.
We're really going to miss Zariana, going to miss her smile, her laughter, her running, chasing behind her brother and her sisters. She's really going to be missed.
No other injuries were reported inside the home. Folks who live inside that mobile home park say they're not surprised something like that could happen because the trees there are very old. Escambia County, Florida deputies had to rescue some residents from a flooded street following Tropical Storm Gordon. This is video from Ashbury Lane in the Cantonment area. Emergency crews were trying to help people get through the water. County officials say one person had to be taken out by boat. Neighbors in the area say someone tried to drive through the flooded road. Their car got stuck. A man who lives on the street says this happened back in 2014 and it created a lot of issues for the people who live there.
You're locked in position. Nobody can go that way. Nobody can come this way. At this point, the way the water is, high lift 4-wheel drives can get through that. But you can see the car there. That car thought he could get through.
And the neighbors there hope the water should go down by this afternoon if there's no more rain. The good news, Gordon is out of here with all the rain that it brought, but you can expect more rain today. Here's John.
You can, but not nearly as much. So that's a great thing. Let's jump in here and show you a couple of things. First of all, we're not looking for anything like this. This is the rainfall estimate by the Doppler radar from yesterday, actually from midnight the night before through yesterday. And this shows you what one rain band from a tropical system can do. It brings lots of rain, and that rain just follows the same path over and over and over again. The same places get rained on, and you end up with enormous rainfall totals. Now, outside of that swath, 2 inches, maybe 3 inches of rain by the time you get over to Evergreen. But inside that rain band, we were looking at almost 8 inches of rain south of Pensacola, 10.4 inches of rain near Milton, 8.3 at Rabun, 6.7 at Thomasville. That's an enormous amount of rain, and it caused a lot of flooding problems, as you saw just a moment ago. Today, we get an opportunity to dry out. We've got blue skies overhead in Mobile. We got a little cloudiness on the horizon there, but overall, it's going to be an okay day. We'll see showers and thunderstorms, just fewer of them. Here's the area around southeast Mississippi with just tiny showers. And then we pull out to this wider picture. You can see most folks not being rained on now. Later today, we will get a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Gordon is fading away. We've got other action in the tropics. We'll talk about all of that coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, a News 5 update this morning. We're learning new details about a deadly shooting from earlier this week. Mobile police say the shooting may have been self-defense. The case is now headed to a grand jury. An 18-year-old man was found shot to death on Northview Drive. This happened Tuesday morning about 11:30. So far, the victim has not been identified. Coming up, Baldwin County's sheriff in D.C. this week trying to persuade officials to build that border wall. He says it could be a major boost to safety in our state. We'll bring you that.
Your turn to call. One call, that's all.
You're watching WKRG News 5, local coverage you can count on, with Devin Walsh and meteorologist John Nodar. This is WKRG News 5 at 9.
Welcome back to News 5 this morning. Baldwin County Sheriff is in Washington this week pushing for a border wall and meeting with congressional leaders and President Trump. Paul Smack was among sheriffs who were from more than 40 states lobbying in Washington. Baldwin County has been talked about several times as a place for an illegal alien detention center. Mack and other sheriffs told the president they want to build the border wall. They say they see the impacts of illegal immigration every day.
Every day that we delay to address this issue puts Americans at risk of drug trafficking, risk of sex trafficking, and risk of death by some of these illegal immigrants that are coming across our border.
President Trump wants Congress to approve funding in the next budget, which needs to be finalized by the end of the month. The government estimates it will cost $18 billion to build about 700 miles of barriers in 17 priority areas. The biggest mystery in Washington this morning is who is the senior Trump aide behind the anonymous New York Times op-ed titled, "I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration." The Times is defending its decision to grant the author anonymity, saying their job would be in jeopardy if his or her identity were known. And last night, President Trump seemed to confirm that in a series of tweets. CBS's Laura Podesta has details.
Editorial, can you believe it? Anonymous, meaning gutless, a gutless editorial.
Shortly after reacting to the op-ed in the New York Times, President Trump tweeted a one-word question, treason, and called on the paper to turn over to the government the senior official who wrote the scathing piece.
We have somebody in what I call the failing New York Times that's talking about he's part of the resistance within the Trump administration. This is what we have to deal with.
In the op-ed, the author claims the president's impulsiveness results in half-baked, ill-informed, and occasionally reckless decisions, and that unsung heroes have gone to great lengths to keep bad decisions contained to the West Wing.
This is what all of us have understood to be the situation from day one.
Members of Congress say they're not surprised by what was written.
Those of us who've been around him in moments when he's lost it understand that you don't want to be in the room and hear what he has to say. And God forbid, be in the room when he's about to make a terrible decision that will hurt this country.
A New York Times spokesperson said the op-ed, quote, adds significant value to the public's understanding of what is going on in the Trump administration from someone who is in a position to know. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Well, Vice President Mike Pence's communications director tweeted this morning that Pence, quote, it came a day after reports of a new book by Bob Woodward titled Fear expressed similar efforts by staff to tame the president's actions. President Trump called the book a work of fiction multiple times yesterday. Well, a South Korean envoy met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un yesterday and returned with a positive report about Pyongyang's view of relations with the U.S. The South Korean delegation says Kim has, quote, unwavering trust for President Trump. The envoy also says Kim wants to achieve denuclearization while President Trump is in the office, but Kim says he wants to see, quote, matching measures, unquote, from the U.S. Former Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore has filed a defamation lawsuit against comedian Sacha Baron Cohen. Moore is seeking $95 million in damage for defamation, fraud, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit comes after Moore was pranked into filming for Cohen's Showtime show Who is America. Moore thought he was receiving an award for supporting Israel, but instead was made fun of. Still ahead this morning, the Bay Bears are set to move out after next season, and the team now has a new name for their new city. Not your average sports name. We'll explain coming up.
gone. And try order ahead to get happy hour anytime.
Welcome back to News 5 this morning. President Trump's pick for the Supreme Court spent about 12 hours in the hot seat yesterday, and Judge Brett Kavanaugh's inquisition resumes again today. John Lawrence reports.
Contentious and intense. Two words that can be used to describe the confirmation hearing for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. The American people have no faith in you, sir. Kavanaugh spent much of Wednesday being grilled by Democratic senators. Among the issues, a woman's right to choose.
As a judge, it is an important precedent of the Supreme Court. By it, I mean Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Been reaffirmed many times.
The assault weapons ban.
Handguns are used in lots of crimes that result in death, and so are semi.
Whether he'd be able to rule against the man who nominated him about the Robert Mueller investigation into the 2016 election.
No one is above the law in our constitutional system.
Kavanaugh wouldn't comment on whether President Trump has the ability to pardon himself.
It's a hypothetical question that I can't begin to answer in this context as a sitting judge.
Republicans appear to have enough votes to confirm Kavanaugh.
Great intellect, great talent, a great judge.
But Democrats will fight the president's pick.
He must not be confirmed.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, airport security is designed to keep us safe, but experts say it can also pose a health risk. Researchers examined surfaces all around the airport for flu and cold viruses. They discovered the trays at checkpoints were the most contaminated, even more so than bathrooms. Scientists tested plastic security bins at Helsinki Airport in Finland during peak flu season. Half of the bins carried traces of the respiratory virus. Experts say it's important to regularly wash your hands when traveling. Researchers behind the study say airports should have sanitizer available at security to help make sure travelers don't bring a virus on their trip. A plane from Dubai landed at JFK Airport in New York and was held away from the airport terminal after several passengers on board reported feeling sick. 7 passengers on the flight were taken to a hospital and initially put in isolation. Over 500 people were on the flight. Federal health officials were notified. They say it's most likely a case of a nasty flu bug. One of the passengers on the flight was no other than Vanilla Ice, the former rapper, now TV host, says it was like a scene from a movie.
And I look out the window and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, there's like hundreds of ambulances. It felt like that scene from E.T. when they're quarantined, you know, like all these people come in like hazmat and stuff. I'm safe and I'm happy I'm home in Palm Beach, but what a crazy day.
Most of the passengers on the flight were cleared by state officials and the CDC and allowed to continue on their trips. Well, the Mobile Bay Bears have one more season of Southern League baseball in the Port City next year, and then the team will move to a new $46 million stadium in Madison near Huntsville. On Wednesday, the city announced the new name for the team, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. You heard right. The team held a contest and narrowed it down to 5 names, and Rocket City Trash Pandas was the winner.
They voted for Rocket City, they voted for Trash Pandas, and they seem to love it a great deal. The vote wasn't even close. It was not even close. People love this name, they fell in love with it, and that's going to be the team name because it's what the people wanted.
And just in case you're wondering, the Trash Pandas won out over another name, the Thunder Sharks. There was damage at a South Mobile County church from Tropical Storm Gordon. Wednesday morning, members of Romar Beach Baptist Church discovered wind had ripped off the steeple there. The large tower landed without causing additional damage to the church or nearby condos. And the pastor says they're grateful it wasn't a bigger disaster.
It's amazing. It came straight down the side of the building. It missed a small stairwell on the parking level and came in between our building and the buildings next door and landed upright and is stuck in the sand, and it's not going anywhere right now.
The pastor says the next challenge is trying to raise money to fix the steeple. They're not sure if it toppled Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning.
Now, meteorologist John Nodar with your First Alert Storm Team forecast.
Well, I'll tell you, wind was one part of Gordon, but rain was the big deal. And now that rain is moving out as Gordon fades away. We'll have scattered thunderstorms today. There is some vestige of Gordon left, as you'll see in a moment. But in general, our summer pattern is on the way back. And that means just scattered showers and thunderstorms. Here's the way things look in Pensacola. Pensacola. All right, so this is the international airport. You got actually 2 months worth of rain in 2 days. You had a record-setting day Tuesday, and a record-setting day on Wednesday with over 5 inches of rain both days. That is just wacky. And we're looking here down at Midtown Mobile, where it's just cumulus clouds. Mobile didn't get as much rain. We actually saw on the order of 2+ inches of rain on Wednesday, as opposed to the huge rainfall that was going on in Baldwin County in the Florida Panhandle. All right, so here's News 5, 82 degrees with an east-southeast breeze, high humidity. It feels sticky out there. Here is Gordon, now fading away as a tropical depression, and a poorly organized one at that, moving into Arkansas right now. And you can see it's still drawing in some moisture off the Gulf of Mexico. So there are still bands, so to speak, but they're broken up in just scattered showers. They're not the torrential downpours that we saw yesterday in parts of the News 5 area. So right now, what little rain there is mostly centered in Jackson County Miss. Get on down here and see exactly what's going on. A little shower in Van Cleve and some rain along Jim Ramsey Road. We've got rain just starting to work its way up into Potocal Landing and Calltown. You might get a little bit of that rain as well. There have been a few showers off the Florida Panhandle this morning, and this particular computer model picks those up. We'll see some showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, say 2 o'clock or so. Now, they won't be in exactly these spots, but notice that there's still some vestige of banding here as we take a look. This would be a little rain band. It won't be, again, it won't be anything like yesterday. These are fairly light rain showers, broken up bands, and by 6 p.m. we'll continue to see rain. But it goes away during the overnight hours, which is, again, more similar to a September late summer day. 50% chance of needing a Green and Phillips umbrella. River flood warnings are out there for Big Escambia Creek, Fish River, Styx River, and Perdido River. These are all small rivers. Their basins filled up quickly yesterday. They rose quickly. They should be emptying out quickly. So by late tomorrow, all of those warnings will be gone. Our forecast, partly cloudy, getting some thunderstorms in the late afternoon, early evening. Out in the tropics, well, there's what's left of Gordon, still a tropical depression. But in the Gulf and the Caribbean, things are quiet. Out in the Atlantic, there are 3 areas worth noting. There's Florence, a hurricane with 115-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to wander around out in the Atlantic. But as of right now, no foreseeable threats to our neighborhood. Extended outlook gets back to a late summer pattern with scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms each day, a 40% chance Friday through the weekend and beyond. Partly cloudy skies most of the time with highs in the upper 80s.
Still to come, Starbucks opens a coffee shop in Milan, Italy. We'll tell you about that and the implications coming up.
WKRG, brought to you by Maloney Frost Lions.
All right, welcome back. Well, Starbucks opens a coffee shop on average every 4 hours somewhere in the world. In fact, there's one right over there by the Weather Center. Yeah.
That's right. We're serving coffee in the Weather Center right now. But anyway, this is a new one. Italy. First time in Italy. They opened their doors in the Milan store yesterday, so now they're in 78 countries worldwide.
Yeah, far from a typical Starbucks. It's designed around the customer experience rather than catering to those looking to get a quick fix of coffee.
Which means you can also get a glass of wine there.
There you go, about that. More to come today. News 5 at noon. We'll see you then.
Traffic is brought to you by Jubilee Roofing, serving Mobile and Baldwin counties at jubileeroofing.com.